Listen, that first week of TNA Thursday Night Impact on AMC was not what anybody was looking forward to, whether you were a longtime fan or a first-time viewer, and probably not even the people behind the scenes at TNA. But if you've stuck around for the past few weeks, you're seeing this company start to hit a stride. You're seeing this company starting to hit a stride. You're starting to see some storylines set up that are going to play out over the long term as opposed to just that instant impact, no pun intended, of a surprise moment here or a surprise moment there. You're starting to see the roster take shape and develop. You're starting to see people get opportunities who maybe hadn't had opportunities before. And we got a clear direction set for what's going to happen with the world champion going forward. So if you've been watching this show and you've been waiting for it to hit a stride and start doing some more things that are a little more TNA, you saw some of that tonight. And if you were a new person who showed up for that first episode and didn't like what you saw, but you happen to show up for the second episode because, like a lot of wrestling fans, you're just kind of addicted and you'll give anything that has wrestling in the title a shot once or twice, then you might like what you're starting to see as well. I think TNA for Thursday Night Impact is starting to round into shape of what they're going to be going forward, and I got to tell you, I like it. I like it, and I want to see more of it. This is your Thursday Night Impact review. It's a few days late, but it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about the show. We're going to talk about where we see the storylines going, and we're going to look forward to what's coming in the weeks ahead. This is TWTBP. Strap in, and let's talk about this show. All right. Thursday Night Impact was back for, was this the third week of Thursday Night Impact on AMC? And the show opened with the new system coming out. Now, we saw the last episode in with the two guys getting kicked out of the system, JDC, who had his retirement match, and Moose, who tweeted that he had gotten an injury at the PLE, but came out to wrestle anyway. So I was kind of suspicious that they were going to do something to write him off of TV, and that's exactly what they did at the end of the show. And we ended up with a fresh face for the system, right? We got Bear Bronson there replacing JDC, and we got Cedric Alexander there replacing Moose. And I got to tell you, I like both of these replacements for each of those guys. Moose is, a talented dude, but let's be honest, he really has reached his ceiling as far as everything he can do in TNA. He's had all the titles. He's been a good guy. He's been a bad guy. They've booked him like a monster. They've booked him like a goof. Like, they've done everything with Moose. So I'm not saying we don't need to see any more Moose in TNA, but I'm just saying he wasn't pushing the system forward at all. The system started as his goons. So to kick him out and replace him with Cedric Alexander, well, now you're getting a chance to see somebody develop who you've never seen develop before. And this is the one thing that I think TNA needs to do sorely, more than anything else, is start establishing characters who are TNA characters. They've gotten all the boost they're going to get from the influx and the mixing with the NXT characters. The NXT characters that are coming over at this point are the lower level NXT guys, right? Like Stax and who are those guys? Bricks and whatever they're guys, the two guys with the boots, Tyreek and whatever. The guys that are coming over to from NXT at this point, they're not moving the needle. People aren't following Stax from Tuesday to Thursday to see what he's doing. Sorry, they're not. He has a great chance to develop more while he's in TNA, but he's not bringing an audience with him the way that a Trick Williams was, the way that a Javon Evans would, the way that an Obafemi would, right? So it is so important that TNA develops TNA guys, people that the fans will cheer for or boo regardless of whether or not there are NXT people in the building. And so they did that by refreshing the system, by replenishing the system, right? Like, again, Bear Bronson's not a huge name, but you know what? What matters is what you do with him on this show. It doesn't matter where else you know him from. It matters how you present him on this show. Do you present him strong? Do you turn him into a monster? Or do you have him eating super kicks and, wearing turkey suits? If you make these guys look like goofs, then they're going to be goofs. They're not going to matter. When they did the beatdown at the end of the last episode, I said all that matters is the follow-up, right? We've seen 1,000 wrestling shows that end with the heel faction beating up a group of the good guys or beating up people or whoever to end the show. And the follow-up is what matters, because you could either be watching the NWO beating down the WCW guys, which is an example of a strong follow-up, or you could be watching the Dark Order beating down the Young Bucks. Remember when that happened, right? And there was no follow-up, and what happened to the Dark Order, right? Like, those guys, they never were booked as anything in AEW going forward. So all that matters is how do you follow up on the big angle? So coming out of this for the first week, Cedric Alexander came out looking like a bully. Bear Bronson came out looking like a bully. Alicia came out, and apparently she was on the outside looking in. Her contract's allegedly coming up with TNA. Who knows if she's going to renew or not? That could open the door for a new female member. Who knows who that could be? I think there's a lot of possibilities for what could happen here, and that's what you want. You don't want storylines where it's like, I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm bored, right? That you get a lot of that in a lot of places, and I think the more intrigue as to what's going to happen, the better, because that's what's going to keep me watching. That's what's going to keep me intrigued, is if I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm interested to see what's going to happen. So where the system goes from here remains to be seen, but so far I like the replacements. Okay, they're booking these guys strong coming out, and I think it's a blank canvas, right? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I think these guys are the Shield in 2016, but what they are is a fresh blank canvas, right? They're a fresh blank canvas, and let's see what they paint. So that's where I am with that. So backstage, we had BDE with Gia Miller. He was getting ready for his match with Nick Nemeth. BDE and Nick Nemeth had what I would call a fun match to watch, but in my honest opinion, this went on too long. I get why maybe you didn't want to just squash him because, excuse me, you don't want to just make a new talent look bad. I totally get that. But Nick Nemeth is supposed to be top of the card, right? Nick Nemeth is supposed to be, he's a former world champion. He's got the Call Your Shot trophy, so he'll be back in that world championship mix at any moment. I don't think him and BDE should have been going so long. Like, maybe you give BDE a couple of spots so that he doesn't come out looking like a jobber, but I thought Nick Nemeth gave him a little too much. Just from the standpoint of you want to keep your top guys looking super strong, and BDE is a brand new guy. So I think Tom Hannaford even said this is only his 25th match ever. If this is only a 25th match ever, and you're going, whatever that was, 10, 15 minutes with a former world champion, then you better be a future world champion, right? So I don't know if they're trying to tell us that BDE is going to be a major player in TNA going forward, or if they just need to fill time. But I don't know. I just feel like you got to be more established before you get to take a world champion to the limits like that. You know what I mean? Like, the match was fun, though. The match was fun, and Nick Nemeth got the win. Up next, we had Mara Sade having an in-ring segment with Ryan Nemeth. Now, people, Ryan Nemeth is booked as kind of a clown on this show, but I got to be honest with you. Ryan Nemeth and Mara Sade have a really, really, really good chemistry together. And this is actually really working well for both of them because he gets to be the antagonist. He gets to talk trash to her. He's always going to be stronger than her when it comes to a physical situation, but she gets to sneak in the super kicks here and there. And I think this has actually been really good for both of them. She's still developing as a character and as a wrestler. She has great charisma, right? And she's got a few good moves, but she's still developing the overall package. So I think something like this is really good just from the character standpoint of let's make people love her. Let's put her in segments with somebody who the audience hates. And that's just the way it works, right? You get one person the audience hates, and inevitably the audience is gonna like the other person just because you don't like the one person. That's how politics works, right? Like a lot of times you don't necessarily love what your politician is saying, but you really don't like what your opposing politician is saying. And so you just lean, you lean to whatever side you lean on, right? Like that's to say, it's a trick as old as time. And for Mara Sade and Ryan Nemeth, this is working really well. I gotta be honest. Ryan Nemeth ends up laying her out. She tried to super kick him, and he laid her out with a clothesline. And it was great heat for him. I think it was good for both of them. I think this is really good. Again, this is gonna keep letting Mara Sade develop. This is gonna keep letting Ryan Nemeth play the heel, and he's still developing too. And I think this is a really good spot for both of those guys. So I'm a fan. Let's see some more of it. All right, backstage we got the personal concierge with the Elegance brand, and they were celebrating because Ash by Elegance is returning to the ring. She was in the ring last week, when they pulled the double cross, and she kept saying, I'm back. So they were just reaffirming that in their backstage segment on this show. And now I think she's going to set her sights on the Knockouts World Championship. So enter Lei Ying Lee, and she comes in to say, hey, you double crossed me. If you want to match for the title, come at me anytime. And then Indy Hartwell and Zaya Brookside came in before Lei Ying Lee got jumped, which was smart. She must have had like a life alert. She must have had like a life alert, and they came in and they was like, hey, this is about to get ugly for you, so we just gonna come in and help you out. So so that's gonna be in the future. We're gonna get Lei Ying Lee and Zaya Brookside and Indy Hartwell versus the Elegance brand. And I gotta tell you, I really, really, really like what they're doing with the Elegance brand. I'm a fan of what they're doing with the Elegance brand. You can't ever have too much mean girl characters on a wrestling show. Like, I'm not gonna say you can't have too much, but it's a great character, right? Like, you're mean to people, you're putting people's looks down, I'm prettier than you, I dress better than you, I'm richer than you, blah, 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 blah. Like, it works in almost any situation. And because it's such an easy character to do, you see so many versions of it in wrestling, right? Like, Fallon Henley on NXT was the ranch hand cowgirl for the longest time, and she feuded with Tiffany Stratton for a year, who was the mean girl. And then Tiffany Stratton went up to the main roster, and Fallon Henley just became Tiffany Stratton. She became the mean girl. The mean girl is a great wrestling gimmick, and you can't have too much of it. So that's exactly what they're doing with the Elegance brand. And in the process of doing so, they're developing Heather by Elegance and M by Elegance. And those two are really starting to come together, come into their own. And they got a goon. They got the new guy, Mr. Elegance, and they got the personal concierge. I like this act, man. The Elegance brand is definitely one of my favorite acts in TNA right now. Again, the wrestling's good, the presentation's good. They're good heels. They cheat to win. They don't try to get cheered. Like, this is exactly what you want from a heel tag team. All right, up next, we had Stacks with Ariana Grace against the Hometown Man in a non-title match for the International Championship. Now, this is the benefit that TNA offers to NXT. You get to take a talent that you want to see more from and put them in a new environment outside of the NXT bubble and let them work with some other people and develop in some different storylines. And that's exactly what's happening right here with Stacks. Stacks is not anybody who was doing anything special on NXT, but now he's walking around with the TNA International Championship, and that forces him to be in the storylines and forces him to have some level of importance when he's on these shows. So the story he's doing right now, him and Ariana Grace are kind of at odds, right? Ariana Grace goes up to her father last week and she apologizes for kicking him in the nuts and telling him she wants to, be on Stax' side as opposed to his side. And now they're making it look like Ariana Grace and Stax are at odds a little bit because he still wants to cheat and she doesn't want to help him cheat. They're making it look like Stax and Ariana Grace are having some difficulties together, but I gotta tell you, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. The way this match played out, Stax wanted to cheat. He wanted Ariana Grace to, to hit Hometown Man with the belt or give him the belt or do something to help him cheat. She wouldn't do it. She turns her back. And then Stax wins the match by putting his feet on the ropes while he has Hometown Man pinned. And but Ariana Grace doesn't know it, right? So then when they get to the back, he's saying to Ariana Grace, like, hey, I thought you were on my side. And she's like, oh, you did it. You did so good. And he's like, no, I did it my way. And she's like, what do you mean? Right? So what they want us to think is that Ariana Grace is kind of seeing it one way and Stax is seeing it another way. But I got to tell you, I'm not buying it. Because look, where else are they going here? Right? Like, ultimately, this has to be leading to another double cross between Ariana and Santino. Santino is eventually going to challenge Stax for that international championship, and Ariana Grace is going to double cross him again. Like, that's what's going to happen. That has to be what's going to happen. I'd be surprised if that's not what happened. I think all of this, supposed rift between Ariana and Stax over how to do things, I think that's all a red herring. I think that's just to throw us off the scent of what's really going. I think the double cross, which at this point would be like a triple cross, a quadruple cross, Ariana's going to betray her father again, and she's going to stand by her man like a good woman would do, okay? Like any good woman would do. They showed us the TNA injury report presented by BioFlex. Shout out to BioFlex. You can endorse this show too. Moose is out with a severe back injury, like we mentioned earlier. Rich Swann is cleared after taking a down payment from AJ Francis during the Feast or Fire. And Mara Sade is being evaluated after being hit with a clothesline by Ryan Nemeth. This is actually, listen, I like the injury report segment. Most of these injuries are like all kayfabe stuff, but they got the endorsement from BioFlex, and this is actually just a very smart way to get that sponsored segment into the show, right? Like, you make up some injuries. It's a fake show. It's a fake sports, fake storylines, right? So, like, you just make up some injuries. It doesn't have to always be real injuries. But from a production standpoint, this is actually very smart. It's a smart way to integrate a sponsored segment, right? Because you got your sponsorship sold, and you don't actually need something real. You don't need a real injury to happen in order to put your segment together. So actually, I do like this from a production standpoint. Again, we saw Stax and Ariana Grace backstage talking about what they were going to do. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that's they're just trying to throw us off the scent. Up next, we got Jason Hotch and Order 4 versus Elijah. It was just Jason Hotch versus Elijah, but Jason Hotch was accompanied by Order 4. This match was a banger. Sneaky banger. Sneaky banger. You know what I said when I was watching this match? I said, that's why they call him the good hands. That's why they call him the good hands. Because, Jason Hotch can go, man. I seen that dude doing some stuff during this match. I was like, oh my God, man. Like, this dude can really, really work. But now remember, they call him and Skylar the good hands, and it's for a reason. Like, for you guys don't know, right? Like, good hands is, it's kind of like a backhanded compliment that people will call somebody who's a great wrestler, but maybe not a great character. And so they'll just say, oh, you're a good hand. And it's a compliment, but it's kind of a backhanded compliment because it's usually something they say to people who they don't see as main event level talent. So like, oh, you're a good hand, right? Like somebody who will always keep on the show, but I don't know if we can really build things around you. But no, these dudes are really good hands because they can really, really work, man. These dudes are really great wrestlers. And how'd this match end? Oh, Elijah actually got the win here. Excuse me. He hit a back elbow on Jason Hotch and the twisted net breaker. And then Hotch hit a UFO Blue Thunder bomb to go for the cover. Elijah kicked out of that. Then Elijah took a kick to the ear, caught Hotch midair, and landed the Highwayman's Farewell in a pin for 3. The Highwayman's Farewell is a tombstone. Elijah doing that tombstone, it always looks weird, right? Because it just reminds you of The Undertaker. And that's not his fault, right? Like, you look how you look, but Hotch does give you, not Hotch. Elijah gives you Undertaker vibes a little bit just by his look, right? Like, he's a tall dude with muscles, got the long dark hair. And so him doing a tombstone, it's just, I don't know, man. Like, he's going to have to just really further establish himself to make that tombstone his own. I don't know if in the eyes of the fans, if the tombstone can ever truly be his own, but, you know, I mean, like, I can't not see Undertaker when I see him doing that tombstone. But it worked. You know, it's a good quality finisher. Obviously, it's well established as a finishing move. And yeah. And so Tasha Steelz jumped in the ring after the match, and they start beating down Elijah. Mustafa Ali tries to bring the guitar and to break Elijah's back, but then Elijah actually countered it, and Special Agent Zero pulled Ali out of the ring before Elijah could hit Ali with the guitar. Backstage, we saw Jada Stone, one of the new talents in TNA, one of the new faces, one of the new knockouts that we've been sorely needing to see. She was backstage cutting a promo, talking about how she was excited to prove her place at TNA, but she got interrupted by Order 4. Ali was talking trash to her. She talked a little bit back to Ali. Then Tasha Steelz got in Jada Stone's face, and she hit Jada Steele with, oh my God. Oh, she came across her jaw. Like, you know the way Nikki Bella used to lay that forearm? Like in the Brie Bella, or like Nikki Bella used to lay the mess out of that forearm. That's what Tasha Steelz did to Jada Stone here. So Jada Stone's laying on the floor, and then Elijah comes in. Order 4 goes running out, and Elijah helps Jada Stone up. So I think going forward, we're going to see possibly a mixed tag between Elijah and Jada Stone versus probably Tasha Steelz and Ali. All right, up next, we got the Thursday Night Impact debut of Elena Black. Daria Ray came out to commentary, which is interesting, right? Like, why does Daria Ray need to come out to commentary for this? Like, what's the connection? Like, why do they need to make sure we see constantly a connection between Daria Ray and Elena Black? This match was cool, right? Elena Black versus Ruthie J. This is my first time seeing Ruthie J. And, you know, it was cool. It was solid. It was, you know, kind of a squash, right? It was just there to feature Elena Black. Elena Black, you know, as a wrestler, I'm not the wrestling police, right? Like, I'm not the wrestling police. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how good someone is or isn't, right? Like, that's not my job. I've never been like a wrestling producer. I've never taken a bump, brother, right? Like, but what I can tell you is that as a fan, I'm not moved, right? Like, you know, when I watch Io Sky wrestle, I'm like, yes, give me more of that. Put that in my veins, please, right? When I watch Stephanie Vaquer wrestle, yes, give me more of that. Put that in my veins, please. I'm not getting that from Elena Black. You know, she's gonna have to sell me on character. She's gonna have to really turn up the meanness and the nastiness, whatever she's got to do, and she's got to really make me just want to see her get punched in the face. The wrestling itself is not wowing me. Again, I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm just saying that I'm gonna need more to actually care about this character. The match was fine. You know, it was what it was. Backstage, we got Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy reflecting on Jeff's win against Mustafa Ali, but they got interrupted by the Righteous. And the Righteous said they don't want a war with the Hardys, but they want a team with them. These dudes are definitely weird, and obviously, we're getting more matches between the Hardys and the Righteous. That's on the way. All right, we got Gia Miller backstage with the Feast or Fired results. Trey Miguel started things off and he got in his case, an opportunity for the TNA International title. Then Eddie Edwards had an opportunity for the TNA World Championship. Steve Macklin got the case that was fired, and Eric Young got a shot at the X Division title. Speaking of the X Division title, where the hell is Leon Slater? I know he's had some visa issues, but TNA, you have got to keep Leon Slater at the top of your audience's mind. If he can't be on the show because of visa issues, we need to be seeing Leon Slater highlights, Leon Slater video package, video message from Leon Slater's phone. You got to do something to keep selling this guy to your audience. The next time Leon Slater appears on your TV show, the fans need to pop. They need to pop when they hear his music. They need to pop when he steps out onto the stage. You can't just live off of what he can do in the ring. What he does in the ring is amazing, but you're supposed to sell all the other stuff that leads up to that. What he does in the ring is just supposed to be the cherry on top. That's one criticism I definitely have right now. You guys got to do more to sell the character piece of one of the two people who are really feeling like major stars right now for TNA. One is Leon Slater. The other one is Mike Santana. And again, you don't got to have these guys in matches every week, but you do have to, the fans got to constantly be reminded that these guys are a big deal. So Eric Young got an X Division title shot in his Freeze to Fire briefcase. We got to know where the X Division champion is. And we got to get hyped for the next time we see him. And you guys got to do that through some production. We need more of that. Steve Macklin getting fired, this is an interesting thing. Back when I used to do the Cool Factor pod with BQ, I used to always say, that I really found Steve Macklin kind of boring. I didn't really see much to the character. But I got to be honest, he grew on me over time, right? Just kind of the stoic personality, the ramped up intensity when it's time to go. He is who he is. And I think you got to respect that, right? Like, he's not trying to be more hype than he normally is or less hype or anything that he's not. And that's what you got to love about him. And like I said, Steve Macklin really kind of grew on me over time. I hope that, either TNA ponies up and pays the man, or I hope he finds a good offer out there from AEW or from WWE. To be honest, I don't know, which of those shows would really have a spot where they would really feature a guy like Steve Macklin. Like on AEW, what are they going to do? Put him as another guy in the Don Callis family? Like on WWE, where do you see him fitting in on the WWE roster? I think TNA might be the best place for him. But I would never, ever, 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 ever tell somebody not to try to make as much money as they can, because at the end of the day, ain't nobody putting food on your table but you. So go get your money, man. Go get your money. All right, backstage, Eddie Edwards got in the face of Mike Santana. He wanted to let Santana know that he was coming for him, and Santana let him know anytime, any place. Mike Santana is kind of being faced with a gauntlet of things in his way, right? We know Eddie Edwards got the Feast or Fry briefcase. We know Nick Nemeth got the Call Your Shot trophy. So these are two challenges that could come out at any time and challenge Mike Santana for his title. How he's going to get around that, we shall see. Are one of these guys going to be dumb enough to just, set their challenge like 2 weeks out and, set their match for a pay-per-view? I hope not, right? That would be really stupid. If you got a chance to cash it in at any time, then why wouldn't you do that? So how Santana's going to navigate this remains to be seen, but I like that we can see that there are these just constant obstacles that exist for Santana. He's getting no peace, no sleep with that championship. And if you're the champion, that's the way it should be. All right. Next week on the show, we're going to have, like I said, Elijah and Jada Stone against Mustafa Ali and Tasha Steelz. Saw that coming. We're going to get the Righteous in action, and we're going to get the Angel Warriors. That's, I keep wanting to say Xia Li. Lei Ying Li and what's the other girl name? Zaya Brookside and Indy Hartwell against the Elegance brand. That should be a good one. And we're also, what else we're going to get that week? Oh, then our main event. Hold on now. We got to talk about this. The main event of the show this week, AJ Francis versus Rich Swann. And listen to me. If you have not seen this week's episode of Thursday Night Impact, go out of your way to find this match. Go out of your way to find this match. AJ Francis and Rich Swann, they came out cooking like the damn rent was due. They put it all out there. This match was phenomenal. They did everything that you possibly could do to one another. And I mean, like, I didn't know which way this was going to go, right? Like, Rich Swann hit him with the 450. AJ Francis hit him with the choke slam multiple times. I mean, these guys, man, they did all the things. They did all the things. But in the end, Rich Swann hit a splash on AJ Francis and got the 3 count. And I came out of that match just saying, man, does anybody put other people over better than AJ Francis? Does anybody you can think of in wrestling do more to make other people look great and get over than AJ Francis? Dog, this dude has everything it takes to be a top heel. He can talk. He's a believable ass kicker. Like, he's all the things you could want. And he has a name that resonates outside of wrestling circles. Like, I don't know why he's not being used higher up on TNA's card. But honestly, it doesn't matter because we, the fans, are eating. Whenever we get to see AJ Francis doing anything on this show or any show he's on, this dude cooks, man. This dude, he honestly don't miss. This dude really don't miss. Everything this dude does, everything he touches turns to gold, right? Like, don't get me started on the Joe Hendry conversation, right? Like, Joe Hendry was doing the same act for 2 or 3 years, 3 or 4 years in TNA for a long time. AJ Francis shows up. People turn to TNA and say, what's AJ Francis doing? What's Top Dollar doing now that he's on TNA? And then they get to see Joe Hendry act, and they're like, oh, we love this. Huh, coincidence. Dog, AJ Francis, dog, if you're TNA, man, keep this dude. Build your show around this dude. He needs to be one of the top featured players on this brand. He don't miss. Like I said, he don't miss. He's a believable bad guy. You want to see him get beat up, and he makes everybody around him look better. So the show ended with, we see Daria Ray walking into her office, and Frankie Kazarian, the former champion, is in the office, and he tells her, we got to talk. And then she closed the door behind him, and that's how the show goes off the air. So I got to tell you, coming out of this show, we got direction set up for Mike Santana, right? Like, he's got all these challengers with all these instant title shots, so he's got to constantly have his head on a swivel. I don't know if anybody's going to just approach him straight up for a match, because why would you, right? When all you got to do is wait for him to be down and you can just run in and cash in your trophy or your briefcase. So he's got to constantly be watching his back. The development of the Elegance brand is another thing I'm absolutely loving. I'm interested. I'm not sold yet, but I'm interested to see where the system is going. And the Hardys and the Righteous, man. Like, listen, the Hardys are like the steady big stars, right? The Hardys are the biggest name in TNA. Like, that's not even a question. Hardys are the biggest name in TNA. The Righteous don't really do anything for me, but it's a fine act. Like, it's a good act. They got a weird, weirdo cult leader thing going on. And it's a cool thing for the Hardys to do. Who's going to eventually take those titles off the Hardys? I have no idea, because I don't even know who the other tag teams are in TNA. But the other thing that kind of just goes under the radar but is absolutely great in TNA right now is Order 4. Bro, Ali is phenomenal. He should be at the top, at the tip top of the card. Like, the person who finally takes that title off Mike Santana should be Mustafa Ali. He can talk, he can wrestle, he looks like $1 million. He's a great character, and he's got a team of goons to protect him. And just, this is how you get like a year-long title reign, right? Every time somebody gets your bad guy champion up against the ropes, you have the goons interfere, and it just, furthers out the title reign. So I think there's a lot to like in TNA right now, a lot to look forward to if you're a fan. And if you're a new fan, I'm interested to see, listen, if you're still watching the show, if you stuck around after that first week, which was kind of a disaster, what are you thinking about what it looks like now? So let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think. Drop your comments down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to going forward. Where do you think these things are going? You can hit me on the Twitter, or really on all your social medias, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Threads, at Talking About Pod. And let's chat about the show, man. This is TWTBP. I'm your host, TW, and I hope to hear from you soon. Until next time, peace.